to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. Today, once again, The Courage to Be Happy by, and I would actually need to see that by someone. I actually don't really know. But yeah. Is it the right top? Yes, it's the right top. I don't really know where I've stopped yesterday, but I kind of know. So yeah. The past does not exist. Your now decides the past. Whatever you think is part of it and or should be mentioned, it's gonna be mentioned. We decide what the past is, what it was like, what it is like. Well, not necessarily what it was like, but what it is like. You know, whether we see it now as something that was, you know, maybe useful and relevant, or something that's irrelevant by now. You know, things that something we went through and something we have seen, but that is not necessarily kind of changing or, you know, carrying us actually. History books are compiled for the purpose of providing the legitimacy of those currently in power. Same with us. You compile of a story of quote-unquote me rewriting your own past to prove the legitimacy of me now. You choose only past events that are compatible with your present goals, give meaning to them, and then turn them into memories. You erase events that run counter to your present goals. People needing to talk focus on either that bad person or poor me. They resent people or society. They complain about the unhappiness that has befallen them. Ignore all that. Instead, we should be talking about what should I do from now on. If I were to listen to stories about that bad person, quote unquote, or poor me, and synthesize with your plight by saying things like, that must have been rough or tough, or it's not your fault at all, it is true that you might get some temporary solace, and you might even have a sense of satisfaction that it was good to get counseling or good to consult this person, but how would that change things the next day and every day after that? I think, and you know, this might actually be something very complicated and or difficult to assess, like, okay, you know, you should be reacting in this way, you should be reacting in that way, you should say this, you should say that. I think it really depends on the situation, first of all, and second of all, depends on the person that you're talking to and you're counseling and whatnot. I mean, if this is a person, I'm actually always for the truth, whatever you think and whatever your professional meaning is. When this person comes up with a certain problem, you know, this person should get a certain answer for this problem, you know, and this should be your opinion on what you really think, and not what you think this person would like to hear. Because in the end, it's about changing things. In the end, it's about creating positive change. It's not about honeycoding anything and letting somebody feel good temporary. Because in the end, it's not going to feel good for the long run. It's not going to be good for the long run. So why the fuck should you be doing it? You know, why the fuck should you focus on making somebody happy in the now when it's not going to lead to anything? At least not to anything good. You talk about the quote-unquote real world, but it is another version of that bad person and the poor me who is at the mercy. Children seek praise, then they learn that there is no point in making so much effort if they are not going to be praised or treated in a special way by trying to be the good child who is full of compromise. So they begin to engage in cheating, deceptive tactics, and other wrongdoing. If they aren't going to love me, then hate me. Pay attention to me within that emotion of hatred. Teach them continually that they have worth, even if they are not special, by showing them respect. Though respect convey that there is no need to be special and that they have sufficient worth just as they are. And I guess, and it is something I have heard before many times, from Gary Vee actually, self-worth and, what does he always say? It's not necessarily self-worth, it's not the same word, but, well, confidence, I'd say, confidence in one's abilities and actually in one's being. I myself am enough, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that to be worthy of anything, and it's okay to be who I am. And I think this is an amazing message to give your children, because even though I think this is a good point, but one should also teach them, at least at my point of view, that they also have to do shit, It's not enough just laying around and doing nothing all day long. They have to do shit. Then somebody is really worthy of something. But it's not about, them accomplishing something. It's not about them, working or whatever, or just, I don't know, doing some dumb shit, maybe being good at sports or whatever, so that they are worthy. But just them being them, which is enough to be good, to be okay, to respected. Why do people reject self-reliance? It is easier to live according to the direction from another. You don't have to think about difficult things or take responsibility for failure. Just swear a certain allegiance and someone will take care of all your troublesome tasks. Adults tell children of the dangers, risks and scariness of self-reliance. Why? To keep them under their control in a juvenile condition. Child asks, "Can I go and play at my friend's place?" Parents say, "Once you have done your homework." This puts the child in a position of dependence and irresponsibility. Instead, teach the child by saying, "That is something you can decide on your own." Teach that one's own life and one's everyday actions are things that one determines oneself. I think this is a good point, even though I guess it really depends on the age of the children or of the child. Because of course, when this child is 5 years old, it may not, or he or she may not have the capacity to think in the right terms, if this makes sense. One still has to make sure that they're doing their stuff and they are, doing those things that children don't want to do, learning, homework, and whatever. And I at least think, of course, you could also be like, okay, do whatever, and you basically yourself decide which type of person you're going to be in the end. And in the end, it also really depends on who you are as a parent and the picture you paint for them. When you're praising doing work and being good and whatnot, and you yourself are doing nothing all day long, this is a bit strange and hypocritical. But I think this makes sense. I think this is kind of logical, isn't it? Who ultimately is going to receive the end result brought up by the choice that is made? You must not intervene in others' tasks, help them in those decisions. Children have to struggle with the gap between the mental, what I want to do, and the physical, what I can do, things that only adults can do. They feel inferior. Adults look only at their physical needs and baby them, quote-unquote baby. Instead, try to look at the children's minds. The feeling of inferiority is a stimulant of effort and growth. Is it? It's also a stimulant of feeling bad about yourself. Dig up your own community feeling and seek connection with other people. Which I believe is actually crucial for human beings, isn't it, But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to end the episode here. See you next time. Bye-bye.